quietly examining evidence which, if verified, could change the world. Evidence that the human race is not alone. This startling possibility, based on analyses of imagery from an unmanned U.S. spacecraft, was recently presented for the first time to the international community at the United Nations in New York by Richard C. Hoagland, founder and principal investigator of this unique research effort. Hoagland, a former NASA consultant and co-creator of mankind's first interstellar message currently leaving the solar system aboard the Pioneer 10 and 11 spacecraft, was invited to deliver this address February 27, 1992, in the Dag Hammarskjöld Library Auditorium at the UN. What you are about to see was initially presented to UN delegates, staff, and invited guests. This evidence could, if verified, radically alter our perceptions of the universe, if not ourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce my friend Richard Hoagland.
Before I begin, I would like to thank several people without whom literally we would not be standing here and this would not be taking place. First and foremost, of course, Susan Caravan, who had the extraordinary misfortune to look at me in San Francisco a few months ago and say, have you ever thought of talking at the UN? Several other people, David Percy, who is our producer and friend from London, who has now been back and forth twice to do all the visuals in London that you will be seeing this afternoon. He is also going to be producing the video record of this in conjunction with Bill Cody, who is down here in front. I would like, finally, to read to you an excerpt from a letter I received a couple days ago from Boutros Ghali. Unfortunately, due to my absence from New York, I will not be able to join you on 27 February. However, I'd like to seize the opportunity to thank you for the invitation you have extended and to wish you every success in your activities. Please accept my very best wishes. Yours sincerely, Boutros Ghali, Secretary General of the United Nations. So I appreciate his well wishes, and I hope we can live up to his expectation that there will be some interesting things presented this afternoon. He, of course, will get a copy of the tape, and then we will perhaps have further discussions. What I'd like to do is to begin with some prehistory. This is a very complex, very arcane subject to introduce to people who have never heard of it. It's even difficult to discuss with people who have heard of it. Because we are learning more things, and the more we learn, the more we know what we do not know. One must come at this from a position of extraordinary humility. If anyone had told me 9 years ago, which is how long I have been looking at this and asking questions and trying to get other people to do the same thing. If they had told me 9 years ago I would be standing on a stage in the Dag Hammarskjöld Library Auditorium on the afternoon of a February day in 1992, on the eve of a return mission to Mars to look at potential extraterrestrial artifacts right next door, I would have asked them if they knew Gene Roddenberry, because he needs good scripts. I'm going to be mentioning Gene, my dear departed friend Gene, a little later, because he too had a small piece of the puzzle and a role to play, and I hope to show you what that role has and might be in the future. But the images that I'm going to show you were taken 16 years ago, in 1976. Unmanned Viking mission, 4 spacecraft, 2 orbiters, 2 landers, went to Mars officially to search for life. But of course, we never expected we'd find anything of the caliber of what we're going to show you. Just to demonstrate how the information conduit can get mangled, there are a number of members of the press here, and there was a kind of a hurried conference up in the front hall with people who were representing the UN Department of Information, because apparently they have been getting a lot of calls from CNN and ABC and other networks and other news media asking if there was a man from Mars speaking here this afternoon. Now, make of that what you will. At the end of this presentation, you may be the judge and decide. We now have a set of data so extraordinary that it demands, in the venue of any decent science, simply testing the hypothesis. The problem is that there are some folks in NASA in charge of the next mission going back, specifically that camera I referred to, who seem less than overwhelmingly inclined to perform the simple test. They will not guarantee, strange as it may seem, that taking new pictures is on the Mars Observer agenda. They use words like luck, and if we're, lucky, we may get one picture in 2 years. Well, that, to my mind, and the mind of my colleagues and other people in this investigation, is simply not good enough, given the import of what you're going to see. So in that light, coming to the United Nations, speaking to staff, delegates, and others, and simply asking the international community to look over our shoulders, to be part of an extraordinary adventure, the end of which could be verification, absolute, that the human race is not alone, seemed to me, just in the spirit of the thing, to fall within the purview of the UN mandate and the UN Charter. Then Mohammed, serendipitously, brings out the specific resolution, 33/426. And now we know there is a legal framework. So I am very encouraged that after what you will see this afternoon, and what others will see, and what they will see through the videotapes that are being made, that we will go forward with a spirit of inquiry and verification. And if what we think is there, then truly we will have before us a new world order of the first magnitude. We're talking about nothing more and nothing less than a scientific investigation. The investigation, however, is dealing with the ineffable. It is dealing with a problem which has been uppermost in the consciousness of the human race for many millennia, if not even longer, and that is the human race, this intelligent species inhabiting the third planet of the sun, alone? Are we all there is of consciousness in a universe that stretches now billions of light years into the distance in space and time? Well, up until recently, that question had to remain merely an interesting speculation, perhaps more the purview of religion and philosophy than science. But with the development of devices like this is a radio telescope array at Socorro, New Mexico, called the Very Large Array. We have been able to intercept radio waves and radio signals from all kinds of natural processes, stars forming, galaxies exploding, planets being destroyed, new worlds being born. And amidst all that background noise and chatter and information of the universe itself, there has been this kind of forlorn hope that maybe somewhere out there, E.T. would phone home, or at least phone NASA.